Welcome back to 60 Plus Uncensored. I'm your host, Seb Fry, and today's guest is Adora Deva, a transformational coach and wellness practitioner whose work blends bodywork, energy healing, hypnotherapy, aromatherapy, light therapy, and mind, body, spirit practices. Through life spirit healing, Adora helps people reduce stress, improve sleep, relieve pain, and reconnect with balance and vitality. Today, we'll explore healing, aging, energy, and what it means to care for the whole person, body, mind, and spirit. So without further ado, let's get into it. Adora Deva, thank you so much for being here on 60 Plus Uncensored. I'm very excited to have you as a guest today. But for those of the listening audience who might not yet be familiar with you, could you share a little bit about yourself and tell us who is Adora Deva and what you're all about?
Okay, well, I think what I'm all about is growth and healing. And I think my religion, even though I in December became a minister, I'm always growing and learning and all of that. I think my religion is actually kindness and caring for other people. And I have a practice that I've had for about 20 years. And in my practice, I do clinical hypnosis, helping people with things like they can't sleep, they want a new boyfriend, before surgery, inner child things, all that. I also love light therapy. It's something I'll talk more about. That I became a light junkie, so I'll talk about that too. I also do several different types of body work, from lighter things, energetic like Reiki, and I have a shamanic practice that I do as well. And I do different kinds of massage. I have this incredible G5 machine that is amazing for lymphatic drainage and pain. And I do other kinds of massage, like just more of a flowing Esalen type. I do raindrop. I do a polarity balance where it's like a chakra with different oils and crystals. So I kind of mix everything together. And mostly I put like the light therapy goes with a lot because I'm such a light junkie. So I do that. I am also recently became a published artist as far as a book that I put together. So I'd like to share about that. And also the ministerial. I'm loving doing weddings and memorials and different rituals and that sort of thing. And I'm actually in another class now, a practitioner class with a church that I belong in. So I'm very busy in that. I'm also busy. I love dance, and I lead two different dances every month. One is a Tibetan Buddhist practice, the 21 different praises of Tara and qualities of Tara, and it's like body mudras that we learn, and it's really a very beautiful feminine practice. But I do have a lot of men that come too, which is beautiful because we all have that feminine and masculine within each of us. It's just not just one. And the other one I've done for longer, Dances of Universal Peace, and we lead dances in all different languages. There's over 500 dances, so every dance is completely different. And I really enjoy that. I have live musicians, and I have different leaders that lead with me, and it's just something that fills my heart. And I've been dancing that since the 70s, so since I was a teenager. And I'm also, as Seb, I don't know if you said that, but earlier we were talking, I'm a caregiver in a way. My husband has Parkinson. He also has cancer, and it is in remission, thank goodness, the cancer, yay. But the Parkinson is progressing, and so I've done a lot of research on different things for Parkinson. Unfortunately, some of the tools that I have, like the light therapy and the massage tools, really help Scott, so that's really wonderful. I also was doing, I got together with this shaman, and we really worked really well together, and so I did several pilgrimages with him, going to Spain, going to France to walk the path of Mary Magdalene, and we also went to Egypt, which was the most amazing trip ever. I mean, I could talk about that. I saw things and experienced things that were phenomenal. And so that's been a part of my life. Yeah, so that's kind of the whole thing that I'm doing.
Well, that's quite a bit that you're doing there, Adora. And let me ask you this. Were you always this way, or did you grow up like in a three-bedroom, two-bathroom suburban tract house and you ate, Tang and Wonder Bread growing up?
I grew up where my mother was Jewish, my father was Baptist, and so they decided to raise me with no religion. Um, so by the age of 15, all my friends were doing different churches and different things, and I just felt like, hey. So I started going to different churches, checking them out because I felt like a longing for spirituality. So that was the beginning. And actually, my first place I went to that became part of was the SRF in Southern California.
What is
And
SRF?
so the Paramahansa Yogananda, and he has a couple different places, one near San Diego, one in near LA. So that was my first opening, and so Hindu was my first spirituality, and I just branched out, and I actually found Sufism when I came to Santa Cruz in 1974, because I found something that had the belief that I did, that there isn't just one religion. There all the religions are pointing to unity, love, being kind to others. They just have different ways they go about it. And so it really spoke to me that I could go here, I could go there, and I could feel like it felt good. I didn't have to just be in one. And then in 2016, I found the Center for Spiritual Living, and that is very much aligned with Sufism, which was really amazing to find another, community that had the same beliefs. It's open at the top, believing you're taking in new information, and that there's good everywhere. And so no, I wasn't always, but as a teenager is when I first found my love of, spirituality and also dance. When I came to Santa Cruz, I was dancing with Tandy Beal when she was teaching. And so I was dancing at a Cabrillo and taking spirituality classes, and that kind of formed, who I was. And I've just continued learning about things like that. Some people like golfing, which is great, but it's not my interest, right? Do you like golfing?
I find golfing to be very zen. And do I like it? I like it for the zen aspect of it, but I don't golf very often. Maybe once every year or two I'll go out golfing. Although I would like to golf more because it's good exercise. When I golf, I don't get in a cart. I carry the bags. And it's
Good.
like 4.2 miles or whatever if you're doing 18 holes. I mean, like it's some good exercise. So, do I have this right? You're a LA girl, is that right? I mean, like, are you from Southern California?
I am until I was 17. I graduated a half year early, figuring I'm getting out of Dodge because I just felt like it's too straight for me. I was more unconventional. So I made my way to Santa Cruz. I'm like, this is the town for me. So I've been here since 1974. I've
All
traveled
right.
a lot around the
Yeah. Well,
world, in the United
I want to
States,
talk
but
about
I
your
always come
travels.
back.
I want to talk about your travels because you're traveling a lot, really, and I think you're doing some pretty adventurous travel, which like in a lot of people, when they're in their 60s and 70s, maybe they travel via cruise ship, which I'm not sure how much actual traveling that is,
You're
but
cruising.
you're cruising. You are technically traveling. It's true. I've never been on a cruise. My parents have done them a number of times. I hear they're great. I would have nothing wrong with cruising, but for me, it's not like traveling is like walking, right? Traveling is like, like maybe in a bus or a taxi, just like seeing the land, meeting the people, get shoulder to shoulder with the locals. I mean, like that's real traveling for me anyway. But I want to ask you about Sufism. Tell me about Sufism. I know like I know Sufi dancers. That's it. Tell me about because you said Sufism. It really struck a chord with you, and tell me why.
Well, I think mostly what I said before is because it's really about the heart. I mean, that you are seeing the oneness. We dance with people. We don't ask, how you doing? What do you do for life? It's more of you're connecting with your eyes and your heart. It's kind of a tantric practice, I think, because that's where you want to be with people in that chakra of love. And their whole thing is love, harmony, and beauty. And what gets better than that? So there's different parts of Sufism, and in the West where we are, the Sufism is more like that. There's dances, there's prayers, and that sort of thing. And if a lot of people think Sufism is like the whirling dervish, that is a part of Sufism, the dervishes, but it's a different sect than, I've done that before. I found it wasn't me. I can turn, but it's a very certain kind of turn. It was just too hard for me. So I figured, that's not mine. I love to watch it though. It's beautiful. It's a meditation. I've seen like someone turn with a baby, and you'd think the baby would be dizzy going on, and the baby fell asleep. I was like amazed. So I think it's just that it's about the heart. And I really connect with people. Like, I don't think like, we have our intelligence here, but I think the heart is a much bigger intelligence. They say that, the heart energy goes out, what, 20 feet? And, a lot of people try and get from their head to their heart, and I think that's the longest thing. And I live there, and so that's why this path really resonates with me. I am still studying, like, to become a minister. It was a couple years and a lot of study, and so I can use my brain too. So, and the ministerial is in the Sufi path too. I mean, that's where I became a minister, and we can do what we're called as a universal worship, which I've done a few times now since I've been ordained, and it's a whole service where you put candles out for the seven traditions, and you do a prayer or a dance or a song and talk about each tradition and light a candle. It's a really lovely service. If you ever want to see one, the last one we did was recorded at CSL in April, so you could see that. It was part of their whole service. We decided to do that, so that was really wonderful to be able to do that.
And
Yeah.
CSL is the Center for Spiritual Living. So,
Yes, it is.
Sufism, isn't that like a branch of Islam, or is there any relationship, or do I have that wrong?
Well, it is. It started as a branch of Islam, and since we're in the West, that's just a small part of it. I do know some languages and dances, but it's only a part of it. I do like Hindu dances, I do Jewish dances. I don't, it's not all with Islam. And, in the Islam, some of the changes are peace is power. Some of the, Akbar and some of the things that people have used to blow up whatever they're blowing up, we can change it because it actually means peace is power, and we don't have to go there. Those people are fanatics are doing that, and I don't believe anyone on any extreme. I think the middle road is, where I want to be. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And so Sufism, Hinduism, Judaism, Christianity, Buddhism, and you said you're a minister, and you said you're a minister of Sufism. You're a Sufist minister. Is that what we would call
Yes.
you, or?
Yeah. 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 They have a name for it. It's called Shirag, and yeah. So it's ordained,
Shirag.
and yeah, that's what it's called, Shirag, and it's
Interesting,
really
because
funny.
there's a name like a lot of Indian folks are named Shirag, right? That's like first name for a bunch of people in India, like Fred or Joe or whatever.
Well,
Yeah.
that's
So
the name. Yeah.
I wonder if there's any like relation to that.
I
Probably
don't
so.
know. I don't know,
There
but it was
probably
kind of
is.
kind of funny. During our training, they said we had the authority, just like a minister or a priest, to tell someone they're absolved from their sins, which is that's really big. And so I was at a camp last month, and some woman was really upset about something she did. And I just said, "You're absolved. You're forgiven. Let it go." And it felt so good to say that to her, and she really took it in. She felt like so much better. Oh, okay, I can let it go. So that was wonderful.
All right. Well, you could give people clinics when they come back from weekend in Vegas or whatever, right? So come see me. I'll absolve you of all that. Okay. All right. So you just became a minister, though. I mean, you
Yeah.
weren't a minister 20 years ago. You just became a
No,
minister.
I just got ordained. I flew to Colorado in December to go. It was a whole weekend program for the ordination, and it was really beautiful. And it was also on Zoom for people. Some people were able to watch it who couldn't come, like my husband. So that was great. And people talked afterwards, and he said some things about me. Yeah. Yes, I'm continuing to learn things because actually, if there was more time, I'd be doing many more things. I don't understand boredom. I never have because, there's just so many things, more things I'd like to do. There just isn't the time. I just have to breathe and say, okay. Like I've recently been in a choir, and she's just taking the summer off. And I'm in another class where it's spiritual principles at the Center for Spiritual Living, and that's another couple year uh, to become a practitioner. Another couple year, so I'm continuing, to do things like that because it, makes me happy. I'm also taking singing lessons because I sing while I teach the dances, and I've been teaching the dances for many years and trying to get my voice better, and so I'm enjoying that. So I believe in getting help when you need it.
So what made you want to become a minister?
Let's see. You know, I just think it was in alignment with who I am, because I had already done weddings and memorials and all kinds of rituals, and I just felt like going for the official way. I'd maybe be able to get more people that way to have the license out there. Um, I think that in my practice, especially in the coaching part of my practice, people come in for hypnosis and coaching. And a lot of times they just want me to listen. Sometimes they want my advice. And so I'm giving, advice, like that. So it kind of goes along with the practice as well, helping people navigate through their trials and tribulations and pains and sorrows and all of that.
Yeah. So, how long did it take you to study to become a minister? Was it like a several year or
Actually, this program
courses?
was really great because it only took 2 years of this course to go through it. So it wasn't as long as some of the other ones, so that was great too.
Yeah, well, that's not too bad. So, so now you're a minister with the Center for Spiritual Living, or like what organization are you
Actually,
a
I'm
minister
a
for?
minister with the Sufi, within the Sufi organizations, different parts. I'm a minister. I'm becoming a practitioner with the Center for Spiritual Living. Even though I've done at CSL, we did do our universal worship because it's also become a bit of a Sufi place where it's kind of intertwined because, like, even our director, our musical director, she's been a Sufi for a long time. Our minister, he found Sufism and he loves it too, and he sees how it's so connected with Ernest Tomes, who started CSL. So it's just a natural connection. Yeah, and I do my
Okay.
actually my dances at CSL the fourth Sunday. So I lead after their service on Sundays. So I get people who come all the time, and I get new people because we're always getting new people, which is great.
Is there only one CSL, or is it like a
Oh, it's all
nationwide
over
thing?
it's all over the country. There's many, many, many. Yeah.
So, what is CSL? Do they have like a core tenet of beliefs that they teach, or is it just really a smorgasbord?
No, they do have core teachings, and that's what I'm learning to want to become a practitioner. I've just started the class. And I think their core teachings are that everything is God. There's nothing that isn't God. I am God. God is inside, outside. And so some of the hardest practices is to seek God in things we don't believe in or don't like certain things that certain people are doing, things that are happening in our country, and things like that. It's really hard to see that, but that's what I'm working on, to see that's just another aspect of God, and that part's challenging for me. But that is the belief, to see
That part's
that the
challenging
belief.
for me too, and I think
Yeah.
it's probably challenging for a lot of people, right? And because like instinctively, I would say that is correct. I would say that all life forms are basically an aspect of God. Essentially, is what I mean. I don't know, but that's kind of like how it seems to me. So how do people reconcile, or like anything, right? Like like what happened to Job in the Bible or whatever, right? Like a horrible thing happened, like he was so, he's tested so much and all that. Like how does spirituality like account for all of these horrible things, which are essentially happening with the endorsement of God, essentially, right? Or is it not? Is that
Well,
not the right way to look at it?
well, there's so many different beliefs. Like the Hindus believe in reincarnation. Like all these things, maybe you did something bad in a previous life. I personally believe in reincarnation only partially. I believe also that some things just happen and there isn't any rhyme or reason for it. So it's both and. Like if you're walking and you step on this flower, but you don't step on this flower, the one that you stepped on doesn't say why me. It just is. It's more of an acceptance of not pushing away what you don't like. And what I say a lot is this is what's happening now versus this is good or this is bad. Just that's my practice. This is what's happening now. Because when we push away from things, that's when the suffering comes, right? So it's more of acceptance. This is what's happening, and it's just easier to do that versus I don't like this.
Right. Well, that's how come the Dalai Lama is just so chill with, like Tibet being taken over by the Chinese or whatever, right? I mean, like he's not bitter or angry about it, right? I mean, he's just like, yeah, I mean, that's just what it is, and we'll carry on. So acceptance and forgiveness, right? I mean, like that's one thing I've always really loved about Christianity, is its central teaching is basically forgiveness, right? Jesus died to absolve you and forgive you of your sins, right? So how important is forgiveness, do you think, to living a unencumbered and spiritually fulfilling life?
You have to have forgiveness for yourself first, and for others, but that doesn't mean you forget. That's the difference. You don't condone just because you forgive. It's forgive. It's actually forgiving. We're forgiving for ourselves because then we're not carrying that burden of hatred and anger and all of that, and we can be more free. So forgiveness is really big. That we have to forgive others and ourselves. Like even our parents when we were growing up, thinking like, what, the crazy
Why did they
parents.
fuck me up?
Yeah, exactly. But and then you become parents and like the things kind of change. We all do the best we can with the information we have. And then we also have, genetics, and we have, our grandparents and energetic, past people that are in our life. They know that cells are from the past are in our bodies. So our past generations are part of us too. So that's kind of amazing to know that they're with us.
Yeah, and so, but you said that you believe in reincarnation partially. How does one partially believe in reincarnation?
Well, partially, I believe that I've had past lives, and I've actually done some regression and remembered past lives. So I do believe in past lives. What I don't believe is that every single thing that happens is karma related. And a Hindu would say it's all karma related. A lot of it is, but I think a lot of it just happens. Just so happens. I'm not going to make a significance, because we can make significance about this being good or bad or whatever. We all choose how we make the significance about it. And I just don't choose to think that because things don't go right in my life that I was all these bad in a previous life. I just think things happen. I mean, we're aging, and we're a lot different than we were 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years or 40. Aging, changes us, and it's just that's what's happening.
Well, how has aging changed your personal journey for growth, intellectually, spiritually, academically, all that?
Well, that's going to get me into light therapy because I think that it's been 20 years now since I've been doing light therapy, and light therapy just now is getting really big. And my skin, I look better than I did 20 years ago because of the light therapy that I do every day. And so I became a light junkie. I completely believe in light therapy as anti-aging. And how I got into it was a previous boyfriend. He wasn't a boyfriend when I met him, but I saw an ad in Los Gatos for a sign that come for wrinkle study. I went, oh, great. Okay, so I got a couple girlfriends, and we went, and I had 8 sessions. And afterwards, I looked different. In fact, I will show you a picture, because I have one here, so I can show the audience the before and after. I don't know if you can tell if I put it up to the screen.
Can you raise it up a little bit? Because I can't see it on my screen.
Can you
Okay.
see it
All
now?
right. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. I see it. Yep. Can you move it
So,
over to the left or right? I'm not sure. The other way. Move the other way. Yeah, do the other way. Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. That's crazy. So how long did that take to have that effect?
2 months. 2 months.
Wow.
So yeah, uh, I not only did I look better, but I felt better. And so the light therapy wasn't ready yet. And so a year later, I contacted the inventor, say, is it on the market yet? He said yes, and we actually started a relationship. And so I actually traveled a lot with him, and he did lectures for different doctors. And we actually went on a ship once in 2012. It was supposed to be the end of the world, and he did all kinds of lectures about light therapy. And so I did a lot, of learning when I was traveling with him. Since I'm looking at pictures, I'm going to show you another picture that in light therapy, if you've heard of Kirlian photography, yeah. And so here's a photography of before and after. Can you see it?
Uh, Not really. I mean, I can see something, but I don't know what I'm looking at. Yeah, it's not
Can't
really.
tell. Okay.
Well, because it's low resolution here. I mean, it
Okay.
might be
Yeah.
look better on the final product, but
So that's actually before a light treatment and afterwards, because it fills your whole body up with electrons, and so your body is really juiced. And so that was just like another scientific proof about how light therapy really works. Because, we're made of light. Biophotons are just those weak emissions of light radiated through all of our cells. And so it's really important. I mean, there's light outside, there's light inside, and using light therapy, when we put it on our body, it stimulates everything. When they did testing, they worked in 9 different labs, and every part of the body was regenerated. And so that's why when you do a light session, you can feel it, although most of it just goes over your head, and you use your connective tissues, so it goes all through your whole body, even though it's just on your face. And if you have low, like a knee that's hurting you, the light goes to the low impedance, and so you might feel tingling in your knee. So it's a really cool way to get energy. It's like acupuncture because it uses the meridians of the body. And the French and the Swiss and French found out that the body connective tissue is fiber optic, and so that's how it carries the light to every tissue and cell in the body. And it goes right into the
right.
mitochondria of the body, which is the battery of the body. It will go right in there, and so nourishes us that way, gives us energy. And when you take a session, after that half hour of session, you can feel energized, but you feel really relaxed too. I mean, you just feel like you've had a whole vacation because it has brainwave stimulation. There's a lot of light therapy now on the market. 20 years ago there wasn't. And the one that I use, it's the only one that has the brain stimulation with it. There's a program for theta. Will bring us down. We're in beta now. We're talking, and then we'll go down to alpha. Theta is when your body really restores. It's like a deep, deep meditation. And the light therapy I have now has a new program of gamma, and that has been shown by several, like Stanford and different hospitals did testing, that it really penetrates deep into the brain tissue. So it's really healing for the brain, and that was good to know for Scott. So using the light therapy for his brain and after a session, he feels better. He's not, as achy, and he can think better and all of that.
Yeah, so it's amazing how light therapy has just like taken off. So like a few weeks ago, I was at an assisted living community in San Rafael, and they had a light therapy room. And they
Cool.
told me, yeah, like an actual light therapy room with like a bed, just like, or just like a chair, actually, I guess, and then several other handheld tools or whatever. And they said that, yeah, it's like oftentimes it's hard to get a reservation because they reserve it for like an hour at a time for the residents or whatever. And they have to pay. It's not like it's free. You have to
Oh, that's
pay to use the
wonderful.
room.
I
Yeah.
think like hospitals and, should have it, or the doctors and nurses, because it really helps restore. Mellon Thomas Benedict, who, did all the light, he had the patents on everything. In fact, I have that. I have the helmet. I have this machine that is similar. I don't know if you can see it here, the light machine up. Can you see it?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I have the full body light machine, and now they're doing that. I mean, the pads. He had all of them. So I have a lot of the prototypes here that I use as well, because it is, and it is of the future. There's going to be more and more light, and I think Melvin was like 20 years ahead of his time, because it wasn't as popular back then, and now it's just like bloop, everywhere. In fact, the Michael J.
Right.
Fox Foundation, since I'm studying Parkinson, they allotted like I don't know how many million, $34 million towards studying light. So they must believe in it. If they're that much money to use it for Parkinson, I mean that's amazing. So
Right. So, okay, so I know light therapy is beneficial for basically anybody, but our listeners are older set. And where do you go to get light therapy? I mean, like, is it I mean, they don't have like boutiques or salons, or do they? Where would one go to find how they can get light
Well,
therapy treatments?
well, you'd come to me because I have, in my treatment office, I have the full body light. I have two, you know, helmets here, so people can come here. I know there's another person in town that's doing light therapy now, and so it is available. And I
Well, we have
kept my
a
prices
national and even
reasonable.
international audience, possibly, right? Who knows who's listening to this? I mean, like in New York or Alabama or like wherever. I mean, like, is this a thing that is just commonplace now, or what do people do if they are interested in getting light therapy and don't want to travel to California?
Well, then they would probably go on the internet and look and see if anybody has light therapy in their area, or they buy a light therapy device, which people, I mean, I'm seeing up on Facebook a lot of ads for light therapy devices. So they're becoming much more popular, and some of those are really good devices that I've looked at out there. But most of them don't have the brain waves that I have. I haven't found another one that has that. They have, the near infrared and the red, and which is good, for pain and for inflammation and all of that. But they don't have the brain waves, and all my machines have brain waves to take you down. Even if someone can't meditate, it's going to take them down to that place of just completely peace, which is really wonderful. I also have in my helmet, my light, a blue wave, and there's been a lot of talk about TVs and phones, but that wave is the nanometers, so like maybe 5 to 550. The blue that I have is a blue turquoise, so it's like more like 470. It's not the same wavelength, and the blue is actually really good. It is good for people who have acne. It's good for even for MRSA. It's good for people who cannot sleep. It's good for anxiety, addiction. It's a really good wave, and it's mixed with the red and infrared for that one, program that I have. So I have three different programs that people could use. Like one is, as I just said, more of the blue wave. Then I have the relief wave, which is for inflammation and pain. And then I have the renew wave, which is really boosting collagen, really giving you a lot of energy. And so people come in and they want all three waves, and I'm saying, well, you got to pick today which one you want. All three are in each, but there's more of infrared and more of red depending on which one that they choose. Yeah.
Okay. Well, speaking of light therapy devices, I got one for Christmas, and I
Ooh.
got a face mask, and I'm sure it came from Amazon or whatever. And I happen to know these things aren't very expensive on Amazon. And so, how do you know if you're getting a good, useful thing, or if it's just some cheap junk from China? Is there like something you should look for in a light therapy device?
Well, that's a really good question. I'm thinking that the nanometers of the light, that's important, like for the red and the near infrared, that they're the right nanometers. And there's a whole range. So the range for the near infrared is 800 to 1,000. So you want to make sure it has that. Mine's 880. And then for the red is the range 630 to 780, and mine is 640. So you want to stay in that, range. And there's also too, like, how many lights. I have like 300. How many are in, so you know how much you're getting. Because when you're having the near infrared and the red, they're penetrating deep. They're not just on the surface of the skin. It's going really deep, right into the mitochondria, as I said, right into that is the cells of the body, the battery. So that's why people feel energized after a session, relaxed and energized. Some of the ones that you're going to get that are don't have the brain waves. You might feel pain relief, which is wonderful, but you're not going to get as much of the energy that you're going to get with mine, and you won't be getting the same relaxation as you get with mine. So I think getting any one is better than not having, because, I believe in light. It's just like better quality, you're going to get more things you can do with it. Like I can do a lot with mine.
Well, I'm gonna go have to check the box of the light therapy mask that I got, because I don't remember it seeing any kind of measurement of nanometers, right? Is that what we said, nanometers?
Mm-hmm.
So So if your box doesn't mention nanometers, is that a good indication that maybe it's not like a real therapeutic tool and it's more just like a fun thing to
I
give at Christmas?
I think so because if it is, they're going to want to mention it, the science, because there is a lot of science, so they're going to want to mention that.
Right. Well, I'm gonna go check my now. I'm like, I wanna like put this on pause and go check my my nanometers and my light therapy thing. So okay, that's cool. Yeah, it has been such a big thing. Now, are there any? I mean, like you showed the picture of your wrinkles, but and wrinkles is associated with aging, and they certainly like major wrinkles appear like less noticeable, I guess you would say. But are there any other benefits specifically for older people? I mean, you mentioned inflammation, right? I mean, like, are there other sort of like anti-aging benefits that come along with light therapy that people should especially know about?
There are, and it's more scientific, and I wrote some things down to kind of explain it, how it works. And I think I'll read it. So the bioactive photons, which are the light, are absorbed through the skin and conducted by the body's connective tissue in every organ, tissue, and cell of the body. Scientists have verified that the body's connective tissue works like a fiber optic system, meaning it conducts photons of light energy throughout the body. It also travels through the meridians of the body like acupuncture. There is the photomechanical effect. Photons of light penetrate the skin, colliding with molecules of the body tissue below the skin surface. There are approximately 10,000 collisions before the photons release its energy. This mechanism has a relaxing effect on muscles, joints, and tissues, promoting a sensation of a molecular massage with profound stress reduction. It also stimulates the HGH, the human growth hormone, and you had asked about anti-aging, and the human growth hormone is anti-aging. That keeps us young as that's being stimulated. And some people even get shots of the human growth hormone. So it actually stimulates that and it gets your body to remodulate hormones such as serotonin and melatonin. It also helps drop the cortisol levels, helping you to de-stress and relax. And then there's also the photothermal effect, and that generates heat by vibrating the molecules of the tissue, relaxing them, the capillaries dilate, and so your system is re-energized. And lastly, the photoelectric effect. The photons deliver electric charges like energy to the cells, recharging the cells like a battery. What that means on the cellular level is that light stimulates the mitochondria of the cells, the ATP, the life force of energy of all living bodies. Light activates and reactivates your body's own healing process for health and longevity. So those are some of the things that it does. Especially older people really notice a difference coming in. They notice that suddenly their brain fog is lifted, they can think better. There's been all kinds of studies actually recently with long haul COVID and light therapy. There was a long study, and there are these cells, microglial cells in your brain that clean up things, and the light helps those cells clean up things in your brain. So it's a really a positive thing that it's doing. It's cleaning up your brain.
Yeah, well, plus, I mean, you mentioned mitochondria, right? And so, like, my understanding is as we age, our mitochondria sort of starts to break down, and that reduces, ATP production, right? So, if you want to maintain like a more youthful vigor, I guess you would say, and better functioning systems in your body, you definitely want to keep your mitochondria in good shape. Now, you mentioned the electricity, electrical impulses going through your body, right? So like electricity is a big part of how our body actually operates. And then you basically said the light sort of like, turns like has a photons, which, stimulate the electricity. And then it's also the same thing. It's like energy, right? So like light is energy, right? The same thing. Well, what I want to know is, I think you're a great person to ask this, is like, what is the relationship between like light, energy, and spirit, right? Because you mentioned like, okay, your heart has a field that is 20 feet in front of you, right? Is there any connection between spirit, energy, life force, and light? Does it all come together somehow?
I would think so, because I think we're made of light and spirit is light. And actually, I think photons in the universe, there's more photons than anything else. So, the whole universe is made of light. So definitely there's a connection with that. And you'd mentioned earlier about anti-aging, what aging is, as we get older, between 40 and 50, our ability to repair gets slower and slower. And when it gets slower, that's when disease can, get in. That's why light therapy is so good, because it helps fight that. So we're fighting, the body that's trying to not repair to help it to repair better.
Exactly. Okay, so how often should somebody use light therapy? I mean, is this something that you need to do every day or once a week,
If you
or how
if you
often?
have a machine, I'd say do it every day. I mean, I've sold different machines to people, and then I say, "Are you using it?" And they say, "No." I'm saying, like, well, if you have a machine, you should be using it. I have somebody who has long haul COVID. I said, use it every day. It's gonna really help. I have another person who has some brain cognitive. I said, use the program and use the gamma. There's been proof that it changes and helps your brain health. So yes, and if you don't have one, I have clients that come in twice a week, and I have clients that come in once a week. So it's just depending on your budget and what you're trying to accomplish and that sort of thing.
Is it like an hour-long session, or how long does a light therapy session
It's
usually
it's
last?
it's if you're coming in for light, it's only a half hour. So it's quick, and so most people can, come in on the lunch hour or after they work. I mean, and I work into the evening, so it works. I would say a portion of my clients come in just for light therapy. Then I have another portion who come in for hypnosis and coaching, and I can add the light therapy into that. And then a lot of people come in for body work, and they want the light therapy with that. So I kind of mix it with a lot that I do. So then, of
Got
course,
it.
those sessions are at least an hour or so, right?
Right. So at the assisted living community, and I saw their light therapy bed looked pretty new and expensive. And you said people can buy these machines themselves. I mean, like, who sells them? Do you sell them? Can I buy them from
Yeah,
you?
I don't sell them personally, but the one that I have is on my website. So under products, it's there, and if people, go on it, then they could get a discount. I'll show you. I think that you might be able to see it here. I don't know if you can see
Well, I can
that.
see that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can't really see too well. So that's the blinking is the brain trance.
Okay. All right. So, so I can buy it from your website. Okay, great. So, what do they generally cost? Like 10 grand for like a light therapy bed? I mean, I imagine they're pretty expensive.
Well,
Twenty
light
grand,
therapy
50 grand?
well, the one that I have that doesn't isn't on the market anymore. It was $100,000 way back then, and so there's that company is not anymore. The people who invest in the company, they have the light machine. The ones that I sell are 2,000 in that range.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, hey, that's something that I could potentially afford after my podcast gets huge and I start making millions of dollars. Just kidding. No, I'm going to check that out because, like therapy is becoming, increasingly mainstream, right? I mean, like it's a real thing, and you were way ahead of the curve when you were
The
talking about it, like
difference,
way
yeah.
before anybody ever knew about it, really.
I could, like, if I'm tired, have a cup of coffee, but I don't do that. What I do is I go to a light session instead, and I wake up feeling renewed, and it's not something I'm going to get a coffee crash. So I use it, when I need to get some energy, or I use it if I'm feeling a little bit of, pain or inflammation or tired. I mean, I use it a lot for different things in my life, and I mean, I love it. I just feel like I go into this such a peaceful, deep place. And some people come for a light session. They say, I just need to stop and be quiet. And some people you actually even know, come, come. So it's a time to just to be quiet. She's a realtor too. Yeah.
Well, it sure is working for you because you certainly do have a spring in your step, and you certainly move like somebody who's in their 20s or 30s. Like you don't seem like you're slow moving, right? You really have a certain way about you that is really full of energy, full of light, and full of life. So, well,
Well,
I want to
there's
ask
one
you.
thing I wanted to share one thing before we're out of time, if I can.
Sure.
I
Yeah,
wanted to
absolutely.
show, I'm really proud of this. My book.
Oh
You
yeah.
can.
Oh yeah. Where's the book is on my list of things to talk about. We could talk about that now. Tell us about your book.
Well, I was in a mystery school several years ago,
A mystery
and
school, you say? What
yeah,
is a mystery school?
it's like a priestess kind of school where they study, some esoteric and lineages of past priestesses and archetypes and that sort of thing. Yeah, as you know, I'm always taking things. So anyway, I was in this class, and the teacher said, "Does anybody want to?" She just finished a book. Want to write a book where we all write a story? And I said, "Yes." Well, the year went by, and only one other person besides me wrote my story. And then she said, I'm tired of pulling. People are not doing it. I'm going to drop the project. So a year later, I called her up and I said, you know what? We're going to do that. I'm going to put it together. I'm going to find the women and we're going to get it done. And so I reached out to a lot of my friends who I knew had trials and tribulations because it's really about stories, women from the age of 23 to 83. And there's 18 different women, and it's the second part of sacred stories of initiation and spiritual sovereignty about what happened in their life and what tools they did to overcome it. So it's a very inspirational book, and it's different stories, so it's easy to read. Just pick it up, open up one, and so I'm not really a perfectionist, and been finding the person to do the cover. I sent her several pictures, and I'd say, no, not that, not that. And I'm really glad now that I was a perfectionist because it came out the way I wanted it. So, and we found a local publisher, River Publishing up in Felton, and she published the book. And so it was a bestseller in 4 categories when it first came out on Amazon, and which was great. And I'm still selling them. I have them in my office, and I'm going to put them on my website. I have several new things to put on my website: the ministerial information, the book, the shamanic. I went to school for a couple years for shamanic practices, to put that on my website. So I need to, refresh my website.
We all need to refresh our websites. Websites are like an organic thing. You have to really keep up on them. It's like mowing the lawn, kind of. But is there an audiobook version of your book by any chance?
Yeah, there is an audio version that you can go onto Amazon and type it in. So it's like $4. So you don't even
Is that
have
read
to
by
have.
you? Did you read it? Who read it?
Um, oh no, it's not audio. I was saying a digital. No, it's a digital
Kindle
version.
version.
Kindle version. No, I want an audio version, and that's the next thing because I listen to a lot of audio books on tape and Audible. So that we had decided that we'd each read our own story. That just hasn't happened. Then someone said, "Oh, we can get somebody, on Amazon to read the story, and it'd be easier." So we haven't decided, but that is the next thing because more people would be able to read it, hear it.
Yeah, like me, for example. I mean, like I don't have time to read books really, or so I tell myself. But I do listen to a whole ton of audiobooks all the time because I'm in my car so much. So, and you wrote this book. You didn't have it ghost written or ChatGPT wrote it. You actually
Well,
wrote this book
I
yourself, or
wrote the my story, which was a chapter, and I also wrote the foreword. Let's see if I have it here, and I'll just read that. I find it here, which I'm not finding it. Oh, this was the foreword. In deep appreciation for all my women friends who have seen the best in me and the best of times and the deep inner struggles I've had, and they've reflected back to me their own love and appreciation. I'm giving thanks to all the goddesses, Tara with her deep compassion and wisdom, offering sweet nectar to all who call her, Kali, who annihilated me when things needed to be transformed, to Mother Mary, who held me in her loving arms when in deep sorrow, and Mary Magdalene, who showed me that I can see with the eyes of my heart. Great gratitude for my husband Scott and all the men who support the divine feminine. You may feel your passion rising with each story and know we all have stories to tell that can inspire the world.
all right, right on. And so this book is available on your website. And what's the name of your book again?
It's not on my website. You have to go onto
Oh,
Amazon or you have to come to
Amazon.
me. It's going to be on my website when I add all 4 new things. It's called Her Coronation, Sacred Stories of Initiation and Spiritual Sovereignty.
All right, sounds cool. Okay, so speaking of spiritual sovereignty, you mentioned that when you were in Egypt, you had a really amazing spiritual experience, was it not? Can you tell us about that? What did you experience in Egypt?
We had a few experiences that were phenomenal and not in your normal realm. Like, and one I posted on a Facebook, and the leader said you got to take that down. You can't show people. So I had to take it down right away because he had arranged for us to go into one of the pyramids, and we were the only ones, and we had to climb 50 steps in the Great Pyramid, and I didn't know if I could make it, but I made it. It wasn't as hard as I thought, and we were the only ones, and it was a big dark room, completely dark, and we were doing some chanting, and then we started hearing other voices other than us in the room. I mean, there was definitely other entities in the room, and I leaned against the back of the pyramid, and I could feel like vibrating, like the whole pyramid was vibrating. It's like I felt the vibration under my feet. We called something up when we were in there, so that was really amazing. And the other amazing thing is mind-boggling. It's almost not believable, but it happened. We had a lot of private tours, and so we went to this Sekhmet temple, and the Sekhmet statue was maybe 4 feet away from us, and the guards were bribed to go away so we could get close to them. You do a lot of bribing in Egypt to be able to have private tours and all that. And when I went in front of the statue came alive. Animate became, inanimate became alive, and she gave me like an energy transmission, and she was moving and talking, and it was like I'm not high, stoned, or anything. It was amazing to have that. And then all the people that were behind me and they had their time alone, they had the same experience. That this stone became not a stone. And what the shaman said was that a lot of these pyramids and different temples were built on a crystalline, and so they hold the energy. They geometric with the crystals, they kind of hold energy, and so things like that can happen. So that was amazing. Egypt is definitely an incredible place to visit. We also got to have a private 4-day excursion down the Nile on a really beautiful boat where they cooked for us, and we got to swim in the Nile. I thought the Nile was dirty, going to be dirty water, but it was definitely swimmable. And the alligators are not in that. They have a block, so most of it. I thought, oh my God, crocodiles, alligators. I mean, all these things in my mind, but there were none of those, which was good. Yeah.
Wow, that's wild. I just Googled this right here. The Sekhmet, what is it? It's a Temple of Mut Karnak is a widely considered living statue by visitors, spiritualists, and empaths. That's crazy. Wow, I've never heard about this. I want to go to Egypt. I have a client who's Egyptian, and he's a super cool guy. And I keep on wanting to like tag along with him. He hasn't been to Egypt lately, but I really want to go with him because I'd like to
It
go to
would
like,
be great.
yeah,
The
a
shaman
local,
I went
right?
to is Egyptian, and and he's been doing tours there for close to 20 years, so he knows
Maybe you
everyone
can
and
hook
where to
me
go.
up.
Yeah,
Maybe you
yeah.
can lead a tour to Egypt with
Well,
him.
actually,
You're right.
next year is an amazing year to go. 2027. My birthday, August 2nd, 2027, is going to be a full eclipse right on the main pyramid. It's going to be, people will probably be going that year. It's going to be amazing. Time to go. Yeah, he does
Isn't it
private
like a
tours
thousand
too.
degrees in August in Egypt?
I don't know how it's probably hot. Yeah.
It's a dry
It was
heat.
hot when I
It's a
was
dry heat.
there. Yeah,
It's a dry heat.
yeah. Well,
Okay.
we
Well,
tell ourselves that, right? Yeah.
right, right. Well, I mean, wear a hat and sunglasses and sunscreen, and I can drink lots of water. And there's an air-conditioned bus not too far away, I'm sure, for when you need it. But listen, I want
Right.
to. We are running low on time, but before we wrap up, I want to talk about caregiving because you are caring for your husband Scott, who has Parkinson's and cancer in remission, and I want to know how your spiritual practice informs your caregiving.
Well, that's a good question. Well, it's going to come back to having compassion because things happen. Scott needs help, and maybe I'm doing something and I'm in the other room. I got to stop what I'm doing to come help him. And I'm just using the compassion, knowing that he's not calling out for help because that's the last thing he'd want to ask for, but he definitely needs help. And so, I help him with dressing and things like that. And I cook a lot and things that are harder for him to do. And I'm getting more and more having to do more. And we've hired out a lot of help as far as, outside, because, I have trees and fruit trees and things on my property. So we've done some hiring out for help. And I think the Parkinson meeting, we have the largest one in the whole United States in Santa Cruz. We have so many resources here, and every month they bring a new person to talk about what's new. They've even brought me in to talk, which was kind of cool. So being informed that way. There's also the tremolos where Scott is now, and I go some of the time when I don't have clients or things, and that's singing for Parkinson. So I support him in that way by going there and doing that too. So I just think it's a slow moving. So giving me time to catch up to what's happening. It doesn't happen so quickly. I think that makes it a little easier. That's a slow progression versus a fast one.
Yeah. So, you hear a lot about caregiver burnout, right? And like it sounds like Scott needs a fair amount of care because he's over 72, right? Like he's a little older than you, isn't he? Like a few years, something like that, right? So, I mean, my question is like, how does your spirituality help you with the burnout? I mean, like, is it just acceptance? Is it like just being centered? Is it just being tapped into life? And like,
Well, I think
because I
it's
think that I think a lot
because
of people might not have the same tools that you have for dealing
well,
with
it's
this.
because number one, I have really good boundaries, and I believe very strongly in being not selfish but self-full. Putting yourself. They always say put the mask on first. I believe in that, and so I do it. And when I am burnt out, I go and take a rest. I know how to completely stop and shut down and take care of myself. So that's something that I can do. I can take a rest. I can do a light session. I go to the gym. That's the other thing. I'm going to go swimming. Swimming is the best for burnout for me, because if I'm in a good mood, I can be chanting in the water. If I'm burnt out and stressed, I do kind of like a one tone in the water. No one hears me, but it kind of, feeds me. And by the end of the swim, I have no more stress. So swimming is something that I like to do that really helps. So yeah, I think taking care of myself. And I also am so fortunate that I have so many friends and networks and groups of people to call upon if I need it. I don't really need it yet because I can take care of myself and take care of Scott in the future. We will need more support, but right now I think we're doing good. In fact, we are planning a trip. 2 years ago, he said I needed to I want to go to Eastern Europe. It's on my bucket list. So we went for 3 weeks, and that was like fantastic. So now another bucket list for him is to go to the Midwest and go to the Great Lakes. And so we're going to be doing that in July. So that's kind of exciting. So we can still travel, which is good. I'm just not traveling as much alone. I'm only going for a few days at a time, so I don't leave him for so long. So I was going to go last month to Bali, doing a pilgrimage, but I put that on hold because I didn't want to leave Scott. So that's the change, is that I'm not going away for longer periods of time without him. In the future, who knows, maybe there would be a caregiver that I could, feel okay about. But right now, I don't want to leave more than a few days at a time.
Yeah, so I mean, I am not a caregiver for anybody, but like a super huge percentage of Americans are caregivers for somebody. Like I want to say like 40%. I mean, like it's whether you're caring for kids or caring for your parents or your husband or some other family member. I know what a burden it can be. So. And they do say that. They do say that, like people should have respite. Like the actual caregiver needs respite from caregiving, because if you don't, you can get burned out and become really resentful. And so that's wonderful that you do take the time for yourself. And I think that's a good pro tip for people who are doing that, because I think there's a lot of people who feel guilty about like taking time for themselves when they're caregiving, right? But like you say, the oxygen mask analogy, that's a very good one, right? You can't help somebody unless you yourself are, not in really good shape. Well, Adora, thank you so much for all of this. It's been wonderful to have this for you, this conversation with you, and to learn about light therapy and Sufism and touring to Egypt and your book and all that amazing stuff that you're doing. And I hope that our listeners and viewers can really appreciate how much like your world keeps on expanding as you get older, right? You're just going like this, and a lot of people they just go like this, and you're the exact opposite of that. So I hope people can get some inspiration to show that you can live your best life after 60.
And we didn't even talk about that when I met you 23 years ago, did we? And I went to your wedding in Peru. Woohoo!
In Peru, right, which we went to Machu Picchu. So
yes. That was
yes.
pretty cool.
That was very cool. So, Adora, if people want to get a hold of you, and I imagine some people will, what's the best way for them to reach you? You have a website?
I have a website. It's lifespirithealing.com. That is my website. And
Lifespirithealing.com. It's easy to find. And is there like a book a call or email address, or how do people actually get a hold of you?
I like them to text me versus make an appointment, because they can text me, and then if we want to talk before they make an appointment, my phone number, that's the best.
All right. So if you go to the contact page of lifespirithealing.com, there is a phone number, and you just text that number, or there's also email address as well. So and LinkedIn too. Okay. All right. Terrific. Well, Adora, thank you so much for being a guest here on 60 Plus Uncensored. It really has been a treat and a privilege to have you join me here today.
Well, thank you so much, Sebastian.
All right. We'll catch you on the flip side.
All right. Thanks, Seb.
All right. That's a wrap for this episode of 60 Plus Uncensored. Huge thanks to Adora Deva for setting the tone with such honesty and insight. Now, if you liked this episode, do me a favor, do Adora a favor. Hit that subscribe button, leave a review, and share it with someone you know who needs to hear it. Oh, and by the way, if you know someone over 60 like Adora who's still out there doing big things, living boldly, working with a purpose, or aging on their own terms, I would love to hear from you. Reach out at team60plus.com or join the conversation at 60 Plus Living on Facebook. I'm Seb Fry, and this is 60 Plus Uncensored, because as we're learning, life after 60 isn't the end, it's just getting good.
Subscribe now.